Hello guys and welcome to our channel. In the previous video we have built a basic topology in Cisco Packet Tracer and verified the connectivity between two subnets. So we have not used any DHCP. We have used static configuration on our endpoints to establish the connectivity between them. So in this lab, we shall configure dynamic host configuration protocol on our router to hand over the IP addresses to and subnet mask and gateway to our endpoints. And lastly, we shall verify the DHCP bindings on our router. So let's get started and see how this works. So before diving into the configuration part of this lab, let's understand basics of about DHCP. Let's understand the DHCP messages flow between DHCP client and a DHCP server. So DHCP stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, which is used to automate the process of configuring an IP network, so devices on the network. So DHCP client, if you have a very small network, which is in this case in the lab network, where a few pieces need to be configured with an IP address. So in that case, it is not very difficult to assign the IP addresses statically. So if you have to configure about 200 plus PCs with a static IP address, so in that case that is very time consuming task for a network administrator. So in that case DHCP protocol comes into the play. So the DHCP server automates the process of assigning IP addresses, subnet masks, and gateway, and even DNS information to the endpoints. So a DHCP client, the process of DHCP client and server happens in the way that the DHCP client, which is configured with DHCP and it does not have an IP configurations yet, broadcast a DHCP discover message to everybody out there, to the network. So it is looking for a DHCP server. So the DHCP server, which is present on the network, receives the message and it replies back with a DHCP offer, in which it offers some IP addresses from its pool of addresses to the DHCP client. So the DHCP client chooses an IP address from the offer and requests the DHCP server to assign the IP address to the client using a DHCP request message. So the DHCP server receives the request for sending the IP address and it assigns the IP address, subnet mask, and gateway to the client and makes record of all the DHCP bindings in a table which is called DHCP bindings table. So from the exam point of view, DHCP client uses port 68, UDP port 68 for exchanging DHCP messages with the DHCP server, and DHCP server uses port 67 for its communication with DHCP client. So let's move forward to our lab by configuring our router with DHCP, and lastly we shall remove the static configurations from our PCs and verify the connectivity that between our endpoints. So we will click on our router. Move to the configuration portion of this router, and we need to configure two pools, one for this network, green network, and one for our yellow network. The green network is 192.168.100/24 with /.24 subnet mask, and yellow one is 192.168.200 with /24 subnet mask. So first we shall configure the green network pool. So the command will be like IP DHCP pool, and if you enter the question mark, it will tell you what you need to type before. So we need to enter the name of our pool, which is, for example, this is green, and hit enter. So here we need to create the pool for start IP, end IP, and default gateway for our DHCP pool. So if we don't know what to type here, you just need to enter the question mark. It will give you context sensitive help for your configuration. So we need to type network, and the network is 192 for green network 192.168.100.0, and again and next we need to type a subnet mask, which is 255.255.255.0, and next we need to type the default router. Default router is 192.168.100.1. Optionally, you can configure the domain name as well from here, and but we will not use that as we don't have any DNS or server running on our network. So that's it for the green network, and we shall now move forward to configure the DHCP pool for our yellow network. So the network for yellow network is, so let's create an IP pool for our yellow network, which is IP pool, and the name of DHCP pool, and let's name it as yellow, and the network is 192.168.200.0 and with /24-bit subnet mask. And default router will be 192.168.200.1. So that's it. Let's save our configuration by typing W, or you can write copy running config to the start of configuration command as well. Router and configuration is now complete. Now, so let's verify that we are receiving the IP addresses on our PCs by changing the static configuration to dynamic configuration. So I have opened up the PC console and go to navigate to the IP configuration. Currently you will see that this is selected to static. So I will select the DHCP radio button, and you can see that it is requesting IP address. You can see that DHCP request successful, and it has received 192.168.100.2 address from the router. So it means that DHCP pool is DHCP is working. So I will close this out and close this dialog box as well. I will repeat this process on PC1 as well. It is requesting IP address, and you see that 192.168.100.3 address has been assigned to PC1. So it means that PC10 and PC1 have received the IP address using DHCP from the router. So let's repeat the same process on the yellow network and verify that are we receiving the IP address from our DHCP router server. So select the DHCP button, and you will see that DHCP request successful message appears on the screen. So as you can see that this PC is connected to yellow network, and it has been assigned the IP address from this pool 192.168.200, and .2 address has been assigned to this PC. Similarly, click on PC3 and repeat the same process. Great, as you see that DHCP request successful. So we have now verified that our PCs, our endpoints are receiving the IP addresses using DHCP server. So let's verify that PC3 has connectivity to PC1 by opening up our command prompt and typing the IP address it received from DHCP server. So 100.3. First two packets might be failed because of ARP process. So you can see that the IP is responding 192.168.100.3, which is in the green network, and PC1 has been assigned with the DHCP IP address. So let's connectivity is verified. Let's verify the IP DHCP IP bindings on the router. So here you see that a couple of conflict is happening on this router. Uh, so you can verify that the DHCP bindings are available on this router. Show IP DHCP bindings. So you can see that two IP addresses has been assigned from 192.168.100.0 network, and two IP addresses have been assigned from 192.168.200 network. So this verifies our lab that DHCP assignments have been completed, and you can see that it is these IP addresses have been released to our PCs. So I hope this lab has been informative for you, and if you like the video, please subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to receive the upcoming videos.